is Thomas Haidar. I'm 25 years old. I'm originally from a small country in East Africa called Eritrea, but I'm born and raised in Norway, in Oslo, and I'm working as an occupational therapist. I also have a master's degree on public health science, and I'm working in a psychiatric institution for drug addicts and persons with mental disorders. I'm also married with a convert as well. Yeah, I was originally an Orthodox Christian, and I wasn't so religious. Me and my family wasn't so religious. And in 2005, when I was 16 years old, I wanted to get closer to God. And I had many Muslim friends at that time. And I began to be interested in Islam because they had a good influence on me. They affected me in a good way. And in the summer 2005, I was going on a vacation to my home country, Eritrea. And then I was discovering that there were Muslims there, because my parents had always taught me that that was a Christian country and all people was speaking Tigrinya, who was the main language in Eritrea. And I got surprised that it was Muslims there. And I also, but my grandparents was really religious, and they was practicing Christianity. And I went to them, to the church. And when I got to the church, I also got surprised because it was no benches there, as in the West, when you are visiting the church. And then I saw them praying their ritual prayer. And then I was discovering that they almost prayed in the same way as my Muslim friends. They were doing the ruku and the sajda and so on. And then I got more interested in Islam. So when I got home, I was talking to my friends after playing football and so on. And they was always talking about Islam and God and the next life after death, the day of judgment, and life in the grave, in Barzakh and so on. And then I got more interested in Islam. And I was an active listener. And in the same summer, we were going to see a movie called The Passion of the Christ, who was mainly about Isa alayhi salam. And that was with my Muslim friends. And before we was starting the film, a Muslim friend of mine was cursing Isa alayhi salam. And my other Muslim friend was interrupting him and said that, why are you cursing Isa alayhi salam? He is also our prophet. We also believe in him, as same as we do with the other prophets like Adam, Nuh, Musa, Abraham, Jacob, and so on. And then I got surprised because I didn't know that they also believe in the same prophets as we did. So I got shocked, and then he continued to talk about the mother of Jesus, the Virgin Mary, may peace be upon her. And he was talking about that she had a whole chapter in the Quran was named after her. And then I was more shocked, and I became more interested in Islam, to learn more about Islam, because now I understood that it's more similarities between Christianity and Islam than differences. So I was starting reading books about Islam, and I was attending conferences, lectures, and so on. And then some of my friends were inviting me to the mosque, and I went to them and the mosque was welcoming me good. They were appreciating that I was coming and so on. And in the mosque, it was lectures and every Sunday. So I went with them every Sunday, and imams at that mosque was talking about God, the paradise, hell, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his Sahaba and his Ahlul Bayt. And I got interested again, and they was planning a trip to Sweden. It was like a form of khuruj. It's almost the same as iqtiqaf. And I wanted to join them to that trip because they was going to visit another mosque in Sweden. But I wasn't sure what to tell my mom, because I know for sure that if I was telling her that I want to go to a trip to Sweden with Muslims, she would never allow me. So I come up with an idea that I should tell her that I was going to attend a football cup. And my mom didn't believing in me 100%, because it was just 1 week before the cup I was telling her about it. And she asked me why didn't she had some more information from the coach, handed out information. And then I said to her that many teams have decided not to attend to the cup, so we had the opportunity to attend for maybe 15 pounds and so on. And then she believed in me, and I was packing my stuff and was leaving to Sweden. And at that time I wasn't Muslim yet, but I was getting more and more interested in Islam, and I was thinking about convert to Islam, because I at that time had thought that that was the right religion and the right way, and so on. So when I came to Sweden, I met a Muslim guy from my home country, and he got surprised when he heard that I wasn't a Muslim. So he started encouraging me to become a Muslim, and he was also pushing me to become a Muslim. But I was telling my friends that I wasn't ready yet to become a Muslim, because I didn't know what I was going to tell my mom and my family and so on. And my friends was talking to him and said that we shouldn't push him. He has free will. He should choose for himself and so on. And then he said that no, if we wait, he should be a Muslim on this trip before he is leaving back to his family in Norway, because if he don't become a Muslim now, he may be affected by his family and maybe don't decide to convert to Islam, and Shaitan will also maybe prohibit him from converting. And now he knows the truth about Islam, so he has no guarantee if he lives for next week or next year and so on. And then I was reflecting about whereas I should become a Muslim then or wait when I was leaving back to Norway. So the same night I was up all night with my friend. I was talking to him and was reflecting about whereas I should become a Muslim. And he was telling me that you shouldn't feel oppressed to become a Muslim. You should do it when you are ready and so on. And then I was telling him that I was ready to become a Muslim, but I didn't know what I should tell my mom when I got back to Norway again, because I noticed something with my mom, that the more I read about Islam and was attending the mosque and the conferences and the lectures, I noticed that she had hatred towards the religion and Muslims. She had a negative picture of Islam because of the media. She was always reading the newspapers. She was always seeing on the news on the television about Muslims, and especially after the attack on the Twin Towers in 9/11. And she had so much misconceptions towards the religion. Why are men allowed to marry 4 women? Why does women need to cover them up with hijab and niqab? And why are Taliban and Al-Qaeda, Muslims group, killing incidents on the TV, and Christians and non-believers, and the Muslims are going to take over the world because they want to take over the world, and that is why they are having so many children and so on. And the same night I talked with my friend and decided to become a Muslim the next day. So we went to a room with imams and some scholars, and I was saying that I was ready to convert to Islam, and they want me to confirm for sure that I believed in Islam and that was the right way for me and so on. And they was talking with me about Islam. They was giving me some kind of summary of the religion and the rules and the way I have to live and change my life and so on. And then they wanted me to take a shower. Maybe it was like a form of ghusl or something. And they asked me if I had new clothes or clean clothes to wear on afterward before I was going to take the shahadatain. And I hadn't clean clothes left. So my friend was giving me a clean sweater. And this is the same sweater I had on today. It's 8 years ago that I had the same sweater on when I was converting to Islam. And then I took the shahadatain, and that was the best feeling in my life. When I came home, I was afraid because I have a sister who was 1 year older than me and a brother who was 6 years younger than me, and we have much common friends. Some of my friends were in the same class as her, so if they got the news that I have become a Muslim, she will know for sure. And when she got a news, I know that she will tell my mom. So the news was spreading in my neighborhood in the same way as fire is spreading on dry grass. So the news was reaching my mom, and she also found my prayer mat underneath my bed. And she was calling every in the family to a meeting because she was confronting me about the rumors and the evidence. And she was crying, and everybody in the family was there. And then I didn't want to admit that I have become a Muslim because I know she maybe would get a heart attack or something. And I was just telling her that I have been interested in Islam. I have read books and I have visiting the mosque sometimes, but I haven't become a Muslim yet. And then I was hiding my faith for maybe 1 year after that. And in the meanwhile, she maybe every month she got new evidence that I was a Muslim because during the Ramadan, I wasn't eating. Every time we had dinner, I said that I have been eating at school or at my friends' houses, and I'm sorry. And when she was cooking pork to me or non-halal food to me, I was always saying that I'm going to the gym or I'm going to play a football match. So I couldn't eat because 2 hours before a match, we can't eat something. And she noticing that, and that I wasn't eating during the Ramadan. And at the night, she noticed that I went to the bathroom and was doing wudu for the Fajr prayer. And she saw new evidence each month, and she was confirming her proof from the others in the neighborhood, because everybody was talking about that I have become a Muslim. And after 1 year, she was calling everybody into a new family meeting again. And then she had discovered my new prayer mats, because the earlier prayer mats she had thrown them in the garbage. So then I realized that I shouldn't hide my faith anymore, because it's obvious. So I was telling her the whole truth, that I have been a Muslim for almost a year now, and I decided to become a Muslim because it seems more logic than Christianity, and it has better answers regarding life, regarding lifestyle, regarding everything, every subject in man's life. Islam got the answers. The answers I couldn't find in Christianity. And I'm not believing in the Trinity. It's not logic. I'm believing in one God, and I'm believing in the Quran and Rasulullah and so on. And then after the meeting, she was crying, and she said that she left me with two choices. The first one is to become a Christian again, and the next one was to moving out from the house. So, alhamdulillah, I chooses the second choice. With the tawfiq of God and my good friends who supported me in every way, both emotionally and economically, I moved out, and I was living at with my friends. I was 1 week living with one friend, and at another week I was living at another friend's house. And I was looking for an apartment to rent nearby, because I want to attain my relationship with my family and my friends, and I want to go to the same school as I was going before. And it was difficult to find an apartment to rent because I didn't have a job at that time, and I was 18 years old. And I was making dua to God to help me to find an apartment. And one of my friends was encouraging me to doing a agreement or contract with God. If that happened, I will do this sacrifice or starting doing that thing. So I was not praying Fajr always. So I said that if God will help me find an apartment, I will always pray Fajr. So the same night I was praying my Fajr. The next morning I was receiving a call from a man who was offering me a house to rent. And Alhamdulillah, God gave me the strength to do well at school. And I was getting a new good job. I was doing good at in life. I was doing it good, and I was taking my driving license, and my friends were supporting me, and that was a factor that was a factor that helped me to succeed. And maybe before summer 2008, I was reading much, because much of the question my family was had misconceptions towards Islam. They was asking me questions: why are Islam allowing this, and why are Islam allowing that, and so on. But at that moment before, when I was converting, I didn't have the answers. So I was reading and visiting mosque and talk with some scholars about it, some questions, answers to that questions. So I answered them. When they was asking me question, I answered them. And before summer 2008, I was introduced with a guy from India, and he was a Muslim who seems very practicing, because he had the long beard and he always wear a distasha and so on. And we lived nearby, so we often went to the mosque together and prayed Salah in Jama'ah. And I didn't, I was always visiting Sunni mosques, and I was always reading Sunni books and hadiths and so on, because most of the Muslim was Sunnis, and most of my Muslims friends was also Sunnis. And when I heard that one of my friends had become Shia, I was surprised and I was shocked, because I thought that the Shia was misguided, because I have heard so many misconceptions about them. And when one of my friends became a Shia, I got more interested in Shia Islam. And at the same time, as I said earlier, I was meeting that Indian guy who was asking me whether I was a Sunni or a Shia. And I just answered him that I was Muslim. I haven't decided yet if I want to become a Shia or Sunni, and I want to read more and so on. And then he was telling me some narrations from hadith books where Rasulullah said in a narration that after me it's going to be 73 sects, and 72 of them will enter hell, but one of them will enter paradise, and that is the group that follow my way, my sunnah. So he encouraged me to find the right way, and he gave me some books from persons like Ibn Taymiyyah, Muhammad Abdul Wahab, and Dr. Bilal Phillips. And I was reading them, and he starting to talk with me about Shia Muslims, that I should avoid them because they are misguided and they trying to brainwash people to become Shia Muslims, and they are not following the way of the Holy Prophet, and they are not following the Quran. They have another Quran and they don't share the same Quran as we do. And he also said that they believe in 12 Imams who has the same attributes as God. And he continued. He was indoctrinated me with hatred towards Shiism and Shia Muslims. And I met my Ustad, Farsad. And I was attending his lectures at home. And I was asking him about why Ali ibn Abi Talib has the right to be the first rightly guided successor after Rasulullah. And then he was telling me about all the attributes Ali ibn Abi Talib got and what Rasulullah have said about Ali ibn Abi Talib in Sunni's hadith, mostly Bukhari and Muslim and Tirmidhi and so on. That, for example, when Rasulullah was receiving his prophecy, he was gathering all his relatives and family members to a gathering, and then he was asking the Muslims, and this is mentioning in hadith, and he was asking the Muslims, who wants to support me in my case, who wants to be my brother, my helper and successor after me? And nobody replies except Ali ibn Abi Talib. And he was asking the same question 3 times, and nobody replied except Ali ibn Abi Talib. And Rasulullah also said that every prophet has a successor, and my successor is Ali ibn Abi Talib. And he was showing me more proofs about that Ali ibn Abi Talib has the right to be the firstly guided Caliph after Rasulullah. And I was always believing that Rasulullah was leaving behind 2 things after him, and that was the Quran and the Sunnah. And he showed me narration that Rasulullah leave behind him 2 things. It's many narration in the Sunni books, for instance, Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Tirmidhi and so on, that Rasulullah said in Hadith Thaqlain, I leave behind you 2 great or 2 precious or 2 heavy things. And they didn't describe it as 2 things in that way, because if he said, I leave you behind 2 things, many could say that those 2 things, maybe the Quran is more important than the Ahl Bayt, or the Ahl Bayt is more important than the Quran. But he said, I leave behind you 2 things. One is the book of Allah, who is a rope from the heaven to the earth. And the other thing is my Ahl Bayt, my progeny. And they will not separate from each other till they meet me by the foundation of Kawthar. And if you follow them, you will not be misguided. So when I saw that hadith, I was sure that Shia Islam was the true direction and the right Islam to follow. And another narration said that when Rasulullah is saying, my Ahl Bayt is like the Ark of Nuh, whoever embraced the Ark is saved, but those who doesn't is drowned. So I was thinking that if I don't accept Ahl Bayt and Ali ibn Abi Talib as those who Ali ibn Talib as the rightly guided successor after Rasulullah, I didn't follow the right path. And all the evidence about Ali ibn Abi Talib being the rightly guided Khalifa was so strong that I just have to accept that Shia Islam was the true way. My situation now as a Muslim and as a Shia Muslim is much better than earlier, because now I have much more contact with my family, and I appreciate the time I spending with them, and I attained the good akhlaq from the Prophet and his Ahl Bayt. And I'm also now married to another convert as well. And my life now is much better than earlier because I feel that Shia Islam have lifted me as a person, and I know that for sure that I have choose the right path, and that is to follow the Quran and Ahl Bayt.